18. His meeting with Bab deeply influenced Brij Krishanji, and he became his ardent follower and a close associate. Brij Krishanji took to meager meals and to wearing khadi under Gandhiji's influence. He would not use any mattress but would sleep on rugs. He used to spin khadi on spinning wheel and would wear clothes made from that yarn only.
Though a prolific writer, but he was frugal with the usage of paper and would make sure to use it till its last fit.
While in Delhi, Gandhiji used to often stay at Chandiwala's Haveli at Katra Khushhal Rai.
He was also there in 1924, where he observed his 21-day long fast for communal harmony.
During 1930s, Brij Krishanji helped organize the Stonebreakers of Delhi into a union, took up cases of violation of their rights with the Delhi administrators and in courts of law to ensure better compliance of government regulations regarding their work and to get compensation for them. Though he was asked by Bapu not to participate in Salt March in 1930, but he quit eating sugar and salt after that and did not do so for more than 50 years until mandated by his doctors. Brij Krishanji was with Gandhiji on the day of his assassination, and it was he who prepared Gandhiji's body for cremation.
Brij Krishanji's devotion for Bapu had no bounds. He authored a 3-volume book, Gandhiji Ki Delhi Diary, which chronicles Gandhi's day in Delhi. The other notable book that he authored in Hindi was titled Bapu Ke Charnon Mein, which was later translated into English as At the Feet of Bapu.
He was affectionately called as Bhaiji by his associates. Taking the responsibility of providing human service in education, post-independence, Brij Krishanji founded Shri Banarsidas Chandiwala Seva Smarak Trust Society in 1952 in the memory of his father, late Shri Banarsidas Chandiwala.
Post-independence, women education was a big challenge and of utmost significance. And Shri Brij Krishanji addressed this issue by setting up Janki Devi Memorial College in the memory of his mother, Srimati Janki Devi ji. It was started in barracks at Rouse Avenue and was inaugurated by Mrs. Indira Gandhi in 1959.
The foundation stone for the present building was laid at an off-North campus site in central Delhi at Sir Gangaram Hospital Marg to cater Central and West Delhi population by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in 1960. This followed by laying of the foundation stone for the residential quarters by the 4th President of India, Shri V.V. Giri.
Janki Devi Memorial College is one of the prominent seats of women education in Delhi and is an autonomous institution affiliated to Delhi University.
The other educational institute for girls run by the trust is Janki Devi Vocational Center that equips the girls with vocational skills and paves the way towards their economic independence. Brij Krishanji was honored with Padma Shri in 1963 for his devotion and contributions in the field of social services. Shri Banarsidas Chandiwala Seva Smarak Trust Society runs 4 professional colleges affiliated to Gobind Singh Indraprastha University.
Banarsidas Chandiwala Institute of Physiotherapy is approved by Delhi Council of Physiotherapy and Occupational Therapy, Government of NCT Delhi, and is categorized as Grade A+ by SFRC.
Banarsidas Chandiwala Institute of Information Technology and Banarsidas Chandiwala Institute of Professional Studies Dwarka are both AICTE approved institutes also and categorized as Grade A+ and Grade A by SFRC respectively.
Banarsidas Chandiwala Institute of Hotel Management and Catering Technology. It is an AICTE approved and NAC accredited institute and also categorized as Grade A+ by SFRC.
Furthering the other mission, health, the Trust Society is running multi-speciality hospitals, dispensaries and healthcare centers and offering varied services through Banarsidas Chandiwala Institute of Medical Sciences and Eye Hospital at Kalkaji, New Delhi. Banarsidas Chandiwala Eye and Dental Care Center, Jama Masjid. And Banarsidas Chandiwala Eye Hospital in Motihari, Bihar.
Innovation is not simply the creation of new tools, but the elevation of existing ideas through imagination, precision, and purpose. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, respected dignitaries, eminent chief guests, faculty, researchers, students, and the cohort of visionary minds. I'm Vanshika. And I'm Shreya. And we're delighted to be a host for this prestigious event. On behalf of Banarsidas Chandiwala Institute of Physiotherapy, we welcome you all to our annual conference BCIPCon 2025, where knowledge meets innovation and tradition merges with technology. As we dive into this year's conference, we'll be exploring the ever-expanding and evolving pool of innovation by reviewing the clinical updates and technological trends in physiotherapy. In an era where virtual reality meets neuroplasticity and wearables guide mobility just as much as the human hands, we gather here to explore, learn, and redefine the boundaries of what physiotherapy can achieve. BCIPCon 2025 is not a mere conference. It is a crucible of ideas, a confluence of intellect, and a celebration of progress within our ever-evolving profession. It is a premier congregation dedicated to the pursuit of excellence in physiotherapy research, clinical advancements, and technological integration. Over the course of this conference, we will witness cutting-edge research, emerging rehab technologies, and practical clinical insights that are not only reshaping patient care, but also reimagining the very philosophy of healing. So let's embark on this journey of evidence, excellence, and exploration, where every session is a step forward and every idea a seed for tomorrow's breakthrough. As we begin with vision, with vigor, and with the shared spirit of transformation, the lighting of lamp signifies the triumph of knowledge over ignorance, hope over despair, and good over evil. To mark the auspicious beginning of our event, I now request our esteemed dignitaries to come up on stage for the lamp lighting ceremony. auspicious flame dances and spreads its glow, it is time to invoke the blessings of Lord Ganesha. It is said, Vakratunda Mahakaya, Suryakoti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kurume Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada, which means, O Lord Ganesh, with a curved trunk and a mighty body shining like a million suns, please remove all obstacles from my path always. According to Hindu tradition, any auspicious event begins with Ganesh Vandana, as it is believed that Lord Ganesh paves the way for success and removes all difficulties from our path. Before we begin today's celebration, let us invoke the blessings of Lord Ganesha, the remover of obstacles and the god of wisdom and new beginnings. So, with folded hands and open hearts, let us commence this event by seeking divine blessings through a soulful performance of Ganesh Vandana. Please welcome Bhavya to enchant us with her moves.
गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि.
That was the definition of grace. Thank you, ma'am, for such a beautiful invocation. Moving forward, I now request our esteemed director, Dr. C.S. Ram, to kindly address the gathering with your visionary insights and formally inaugurate our annual conference.
A very warm good morning to all of you. At the outset, I would like to welcome the guests of today, Dr. Vandana Talwar, Dean GGS IPU, School of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences, Dr. Gerd Muller, Founder and Chairman, Active Health, Dr. Nitesh Bansal, Chief Compliance Officer from OP Jindal University, Sonipat, and Dr. Prakash Jha, who is Training and Development Head at Active Health. My dear students, participants from outside, participants who have joined online and offline. It is indeed our pleasure and a warm welcome because this is the first time that we have gone online and offline together, and I am proudly saying that we have crossed 450 registrations. Around 300 people have joined us online and 100 offline. On this important occasion of BCIP Con, which is a conference, I would like to share my thoughts. There is a shloka by Adi Shankara which says that three things in life are a blessing. So first is to be born as a human. The second is to have craving for higher knowledge or spirituality. And the third is to come to feet of a guru who can accept you and give his grace. So likewise, You people are very lucky. You have chosen this profession. That was the first step. You have capable teachers, capable masters who can mold you. That is the third step. And the second step, which is the most important, craving for knowledge. Craving for knowledge is up to you. So if you want to evolve, you want to rise, you want to make a mark for yourself, then definitely the second step is very, very important. And through BCIP Con, we are trying to bring to you clinicians, academicians, and eminent persons in the field who will share their knowledge, wisdom, and expertise. And how much you are able to imbibe, it's up to you. It simply depends upon the factor of craving. So if you are receptive and you are cautious, you will listen to the talks in a very receptive way and try to imbibe as much as you can. So with these words, I'll give a pause. Thank you so much, and welcome to BCIP Talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Your wise counsel has definitely set the tone for our prestigious conference and uplifted the spirits of our audience. And now it is truly an honor and privilege to welcome our chief guest of the program, someone who is an exceptional leader in Indian medical education and healthcare administration, Dr. Vandana Talwar. Dr. Talwar currently serves as the Dean, University School of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences at Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University, and is also a professor and consultant in the Department of Critical Care Medicine. She holds an MD in Anesthesia and Intensive Care from Vardhaman Mahavir Medical College and Safdarjung Hospital, New Delhi, with a keen professional interest in critical care. She was appointed Medical Superintendent of VMMC and SGH in June 2023, a role she held with distinction until October 2024. She took up a teaching role in 2009 and went on to become the head of the Department of Anesthesia and Intensive Care in August 2022. She has over 50 national and international publications, more than 100 conference presentations, and has mentored numerous research projects. Her consistent dedication to healthcare advancement makes her a true role model for professionals and students alike. Her impact as a medical administrator has been phenomenal. Under her leadership, there has been several achievements, including 4 successfully completed cadaveric organ donations that benefited multiple recipients, establishment of departments like emergency medicine and critical care medicine, introducing the geriatric care ward, stroke unit, and upgraded 24-hour cardiology cath lab services, leading the inauguration of North India's first skin bank and facilitating the first bone marrow transplant in a central government hospital at VMMC and SJH, and many more. Dr. Talwar's extraordinary work has earned her multiple prestigious recognitions. She was selected among the 35 game changers in healthcare of the decade by the Confederation of Indian Industry and recognized as one of the women leaders in healthcare on International Women's Day 2024. She also received a special award for efficient revival of deceased organ donation presented by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in warmly welcoming Dr. Vandana Talwar.
A very good morning to all. Thank you very much for the very kind words. Dr. C.S. Ram, Organizing Secretary of this conference, Dr. Muller, Dr. Bansal, Dr. Prakash Jha, the faculty, dignitaries, who are present off the dais, students, as you said, they are physically present, and more than 300 are present online. Very heartening to know that such a good participation of the conference. It's an honor for me to be here today at this prestigious BCIP Con 2025, where I believe that knowledge and patient care and innovation all will go hand in hand together. Banarsidas Chandiwala Institute of Physiotherapy is one of our very prestigious institutes under the Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University. It was established, as you all know, in 2003, and you're very successfully running the bachelor's program of 60 students each, and very happy to say that you're also now running the master's program in musculoskeletal since 2021 and sports since 2022. Physiotherapy, as we all know, is the art and science of movement. And movement is life. Whenever anyone gets injured or has pain, it's not only the physical component which needs to be addressed, it also affects the mind. And therefore, it interferes with our well-being and our overall feeling of feeling good. And that is where I think that physiotherapists play an extraordinary role. It's not only rehabilitation, getting the limb movement back again, getting the person to be back and mobile again, but it's also so important to make them independent, to make them feel as if they're living a dignified life, to get them back into the life which they were living before they have the injury, to get them the confidence to do that and increase the quality of life and well-being. I can say that from my personal example. In February this year, I met with I just fell down and I had a fracture of my leg. And within 5 days, I had to fly to the US for my daughter's wedding. So it was quite a setback for me. And I think for 4 or 5 days, I didn't know what was happening. And after the orthopedician just put in their brace, after that, their work was over. And the rest was for the physiotherapy, etc. to start. And for 4 to 5 days, I was pretty zapped. I didn't know what was happening. And that's when the physiotherapist came home and said, "Madam, aap kya kar rahe ho?" Because, okay, we delayed the ticket. We could delay it by 10 days. Aapko jana hai USA. So I had to be up and about. So he got me from the bed, like I was on the bed and wheelchair. So he said, "Forget the wheelchair. So you have to be with the walker." So then I sort of was on the walker, and of course 3 limbs were active. We began physiotherapy. I went to the US. Of course I was on a wheelchair, but at least I could go and attend the wedding. So it was a big deal for me, and it was all because of the physiotherapist who took over and made that possible for me. So I'm really, really thankful for that. The scope of physiotherapy, as we all know, has really increased. It goes beyond just a physical rehabilitation, the post-operative care. There is neuro-rehabilitation, there is critical care, there is preventive, there is community rehabilitation, and sports medicine is in a big way in our hospital, Safdarjung Hospital. We have a very established sports injury center, we have sports medicine department, and we have a very well-established physiotherapy department. And I would say that physiotherapy and rehabilitation is there over the entire hospital. You know, generally a department is confined to a particular area. I, being an anesthesiologist, I can tell you, we work in the operating rooms, we work in critical care, we work in emergency medicine. So we make our presence felt over the entire hospital. And I can say the same thing about physiotherapists and rehab people, because I can see you there in different departments and making a difference to the clinical outcome of patients. From my personal, I work in the intensive care unit. I'm heading one of the ICUs at Safdarjung Hospital. So the day begins by taking a round there in the ICU, and the physiotherapist is a very important part of our team when I do the round. If I miss the physiotherapist for a couple of patients, I'll say, wo kahan pe hai, unko bulao. So, because there is a lot of help we get. The chest physiotherapy, when we extubate the patient, when we take the patient off the ventilator, we remove the tube. But then you want the patient to cough out secretions. You need the incentive spirometry. You want them to take a deep breath. So if all that happens, we can prevent the reintubation, which is what our aim is. Many times it would be just about mobilizing the patient on the bed, even if the patient is on the ventilator, but in bed mobilization. You don't want them to get bed sores, etc. Sometimes you have a patient with Guillain-Barré who's tracheostomized, and I want the patient to go on a wheelchair and sort of go outside the ICU also and take a round and come back because they get a change from outside the ICU setup. So there is such an important component of physiotherapy, and I think it's the entire healthcare team, along with the clinicians, the nursing, a lot of other technical staff, and especially the rehab and the physio people, who all together enable us to provide a holistic care to our patients, which is so very important. These days, of course, the concept of individualized assessment and goal setting, when we assess a patient, set our goals, put them onto exercise training, and thereby improve the quality of life. As we all know, tele-rehabilitation and remote monitoring is coming in a big way. Probably it's one of the departments where it is possible to do. So it increases the access of physiotherapy. Maybe everybody cannot come to a hospital or go to a clinic setup, but they can access the treatment from home. So there itself, the accessibility has increased. And artificial intelligence has enabled us to deliver that care and also monitor the progress accordingly in our patients. So I think it's a very exciting time as students to be in this profession. It's a continuous learning and adaptation, not only for students, I would say for faculty, for all of us, for me, even at this stage, I think every day we need to learn something new. So there is the challenge that we put in our best every day for our patients. So I urge all of you, all students, all faculty, as Dr. Ram was saying, if the onus is on you, you've got admission into a great center. The teachers are going to impart you great teaching, great learning. But how much you want to imbibe? How much is that thirst in you to learn and to move ahead? So knowledge is always good. It's the best time in life to gain that knowledge and then to translate it into critical care. So I would sort of urge all of you to embrace that lifelong learning, to get into research and engage yourselves in research. But I would say what's very important, do all of that with a lot of maintaining your standard of ethics and of empathy. Technology has come in a great way. We can give much more to our patients today, what we could not give earlier, by virtue of having great machines, of having that technology, of having the AI and helping us all. So we have great things which have happened to us. It has helped us give better care to our patients. But compassion, the humane touch, that is not negotiable. That is irreplaceable. That has at all costs to be maintained. There is no two ways to that. So I'd like to congratulate the organizers for getting everybody together to arrange this academic feast. And I wish the organizers and the conference great success. I hope that it becomes a time of learning when all of you as educationists, as clinicians, as researchers, all of you can engage, discuss, get together and collaborate with each other. And I hope at the end of the day, it's all going to benefit for the sake of patients. So in the end, I'd like to end with a quote from Helen Keller. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. So thank you very much and best wishes for the success of the conference.
I now request our director, sir, to kindly felicitate ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that deeply enriching and thought-provoking address. Your words were not just informative, but truly illuminating, offering us a rare glimpse into the depth of leadership, compassion, and vision it takes to drive meaningful change in healthcare and education. Now it is time to welcome another distinguished personality among us, someone whose work continues to influence quality education in the field of physiotherapy. Professor Dr. Nitesh Bansal, the Chief Compliance Officer, Professor and Dean at OP Jindal Global University.
Thank you. I think we are telling it. So let's start with the topic. A very good morning to each one of you. A very good morning. Good morning. That sounds like really a good morning. So, am I audible? Yes, sir. I don't like to be in a corner. That means I need a center stage. That's a good Thank you so much, ma'am, for setting the tone. I think what you said, we all have been hearing among ourselves, but coming from somebody like you makes a lot of difference. And as we believe in physiotherapy, people say medicine adds years to life and physiotherapy adds life to those years. So you have very clearly defined that and set up a stage for today's deliberation. Thanks to Professor C.S. Ram and Avi for inviting us and having us all of us here. We are really delighted to see there are 100 of you who are here and about 300 who are hearing in the different part of the world. So thanks to technology that we could talk. I'm not very sure the topic given to me would be of interest to students, but I'm sure many of you, or few of you at least, would have ever thought of getting into academia. Although I'm trying to cover something which touch each and everybody's life, some or the other, cannot be away. You cannot stay away, whether you like it or not. So topic to me is ensuring quality in allied and healthcare, because and has a lot of importance in today's context, especially what's happening at the regulatory level. I'm Nitesh Bansal. As said, I'm a student of a process called learning, so we all continuously keep learning. I work with OP Jindal Global University. I'm also associated with a small group called Society of Indian Physiotherapy. Why I am here today is to talk about what we must do, basic, bare minimum, as far as the education is concerned. But the buck doesn't stop there. We all must take up a step ahead and do slightly more than what is basic and minimum. And that's what I'm here to share my perspective about. Quality, I'm sure all of you are very familiar with. Does that matter in your life? It doesn't. Does it matter? It describes how loud you are and how much it matters. So there is a direct correlation. Let me ask it again. Does it matter to you? That must be the prime factor why you chose BCIP to do your bachelor's or master, whatever it is. So let's look at what it is. If I ask parameters which we need to be very concerned about, quality comes the first. What if we ensure that? What is the next step? I'm sure all of you, wherever you are in different part of the world, quality is at the prime factor. But what next after quality? The benchmarking. We know what we are doing is the best, but how it is placed with others in the market. So that's benchmarking. And the last one would be somebody putting a stamp on it. Yes, whatever you are doing is the best. Or it is at par the minimum standard. So when we talk about quality in education, we need to be aware about these three critical aspects called quality, benchmarking and accreditation. And I'm sure faculty colleagues here are very well aware. What is the business behind it? We'll try and discuss in our upcoming slide. If I ask any one of you if you can pick up and say if you can define quality, forget about education, forget about clinical setup, forget about food, forget about your clothing, forget about your car or a place to choose for your next staycation, what do you define quality as? Feel free if anybody would like to share anything about it. It would be better if we have some sort of a थोड़े दिन बाद मेरी आवाज जो है वो चुभने लग जाएगी तो इसलिए it's better we have some other beautiful voices as well. Anybody can pick it up and say what could be a quality is defined? No? Nobody? Doesn't matter. You know, ये एक सबसे बड़ी problem. Whenever I go and try, and let me start with the story because I know the topic is quite boring. Whenever I have been told to talk to youngsters, I don't know, it's Gen Z or something else now. It's something else also? Z plus, or whatever that generation. This reminds me of a small story. Let me see if it appeals to you or you find connected to that story. One fine day, I was taking a walk in a garden next to my house, and I saw a grandfather with a child of about 3 to 4 years taking the walk. And I could overhear the conversation between a grandchild and a grandfather. The grandchild was asking the grandfather, "Where did your father come from?" It's a very interesting and a genuine question at that age. The grandfather politely answered, "My grandfather got him from that particular tree." How about grandmother? My grandmother got the daughter and then they got married. Okay, how about you? My father went to that particular city and there was a tree where I was found and I was brought home. So and so. What about my father? Myself and your grandmother were taking around in the park next to my house and we found your father and got him. In last 10 minutes, I could hear the entire family was born and found their place in the earth. The grandfather was quite satisfied because he could answer everything to him. But the grandchild was not sounding satisfied, or he was rather worried. So his grandfather asked him, "Beta, what happened? Why are you looking so worried?" He took a pause, looked at his grandfather and asked him very politely, "Grandfather, 3 generations have passed. Don't you think there is something wrong in our family?" He said, "No, I don't find anything wrong. What is bothering you?" He said, "Grandfather, just think about 3 generations have passed in our family and we didn't have even a single normal delivery." So that kind of a level, if we have in today's generation, I don't know how much we can talk and discuss about some topic which has importance. But still, let me try and ask you if any one of you can define quality in your domain.
So anything, if you talk about like how good or a bad it is.
Let's not talk about the bad. How good?
How good it is.
How good it is between or within your capacity. So your good or quality may be slightly different from me. That all of us agree. So quality is something which is very subjective. Am I right? So let's come back to the topic of quality into education. In education, unfortunately, nowadays it has become a pure business. I'm sure you are talking about quality in terms of accreditation everywhere. We are NAC accredited A+, A++, NBA in case it is applicable, NIRF ranking in case applicable. We have been so good, we have been so good. That has become unfortunately a business. But there are many institutions who are doing great job in this country and abroad. They are slightly away from the business of that quality. Why I am saying this, sharing with you, is we need to be very careful. We are not actually running behind quality for our marketing or a business purpose. We really mean it. Why we want to adopt certain standards. And they can only be said accepted once it is stamped by somebody in external agency and we follow that. Moving on to next challenges in defining quality, because it is again, as he said, it's a very elusive term. It may be different from others. It may differ within your classroom. It may differ within your class teacher, within a faculty of different college or within the university. None of you will work in a similar setup. All of you, once you graduate after PPT or MPT, will have a different kind of an environment to work with. So you need to be prepared for those quality standards with that. And let's look at the simple example. An examination of a knife would reveal that its distinctive quality is to cut, and from this we can conclude the good knife would be a knife that cuts well. This is what we need to understand. It may sound very simple, but are we really using the right kind of parameters to talk about the quality of physiotherapy education or physiotherapy services? So we need to go back, look at the parameters which is defined. It's very unfortunate the colleges all over the world are now being perceived for their placement, which is not the right parameter. institutions of higher educations are institution of learning, not a placement agency. That's my personal thought. I may be wrong. There's no difficulty in admitting that. That's a different scenario altogether. The colleges which provides a good therapist or a good healthcare or a allied and healthcare professional, the sole parameter has to be how well they are doing clinically, how well they are accepted in the academic world. You don't have to be a researcher. Not everybody has mindset of being a good clinician or a good teacher or a good researcher. But if you have one of these qualities, you have to be judged on those particular parameters. And each one of us sitting in this hall or joined us online needs to identify that parameter of himself or herself. What is that quality where I need to be found to be as a best person? So quality will have our own definition if we want to attain that or if we want to define for ourselves. Moving on further, then if we talk about benchmarking, we all know NAC is the superior most as far as the academic structure is concerned, and they have defined benchmarking an example of good performance that serves as a standard for comparison of one's performance. It is a technique in which an institution measures the performance against the best of others. All of us have accepted. I myself have visited about 15 institutions as a peer team member. I have done it my institution as a NAC. We all accept that. But when it comes to practical, how much we maintain that still remains a question. Are we doing it just to fulfill some obligatory requirements, statutory or non-statutory? Or are we really adopting them to improve our functions in day-to-day life? Many of you who have been indulged in this exercise, you know very well what kind of a paperwork it demands and when it starts, when it ends. So we all are aware. So benchmarking is a tool for achieving the idea of enrichment or quality of enhancement in education. It's better to have something than nothing. But then my request to each one of you, don't stop it where this regulatory body asks you to stop it. Please go beyond that and try to make a framework within your circle in case you want to. Many of you will start independent practice. Many of you will start working in a college, institution or a university. So please start defining your own quality framework, which can be further taken into benchmarking with the not only national but also globally. If I have to ask you one example, if you read that statement, how does fish know if it is wet? Throughout the life, fish is always in the water. So that's the only feeling. And that's the biggest problem we as a physiotherapist or many of our colleagues in allied and healthcare have. We have never gone out of our own created environment. We have never seen how water is felt outside the water because it doesn't exist for us. But that's just an example. Ma'am has very clearly defined how important we are in a healthcare team. But have we really taken that initiative to be part of that team in an active voice? Many of our colleagues have done it. But is it being imparted into our education from the bachelor's level? We need to ask ourselves and ask our teachers and need to work towards that. Unless we change that situation, we will not be able to make a better world for ourselves and for generations of our profession years to come. It's a time. There is a basic requirement which we have met. We have gone beyond it. Enough of saying that it's a upcoming profession. We have been growing for the last 70 years and we are well established. Many of our colleagues have done very well, not only at the national but at the international level. It's a time to go slightly beyond. It's a right time where we can stretch our arms in the right direction and go beyond our normal or a usual expectation. And the future generation which are all sitting in front of us and on online, we need to really go out of that water and become that fish who can feel that. When we talk about benchmarking, we only don't have to talk about what other people say, that we have to start first internally, where we start evaluating to know what is the best in their own institution so that other schools department can evaluate. It's a very fortunate part. You are not only a standalone institution, there are a group of colleges. There are something which hotel management is doing very well. There are certain things which engineering, technology or a computer application department is doing well. No harm in learning from them, adopting that and try to teach what we are doing at grade. So if we start doing it from our education system, I'm sure we will be able to learn something new at the right time. Of course, the next term comes the external. When we start find out where is an institution stand with reference to the best of the institution in that category so that it can improve its performance and grading. The choice of your institution makes the most critical aspect of. You can't, I'm sure you must have seen that cartoon where the elephant, fish, dog, camel all have been made to do a similar job. But they can't perform because all of them, they have their different strengths. So is with the institution. Banarsidas Chandiwala institution has a different kind of a strength. You can't compare the institution sitting here in this campus in heart of the Delhi, where a university located in some far places with 200 acres of land with government funding of thousands of crore coming in. So we need to be very careful about what is the best in Chandiwala and where and what with whom we benchmark ourselves. If we start realizing that, I'm sure we will start moving towards, because priority is definitely different from a different kind of an institution. A university which is funded by the government has a different kind of a functioning and a priority or a mandate. A standalone institution which is affiliated to a government university has a different kind of a mandate. Every education institution basically has two roles to play: creating knowledge and dissemination of knowledge. Not every institution can create knowledge, but every institution has to disseminate knowledge. So what you are doing, you are disseminating knowledge as of now. Being a standalone, I'm sure there is a scope where we can create knowledge also by the way of research. But that's, if you're not doing, that's not something, oh no, we are not. That is also acceptable. That is equally important. So please be careful when you choose external agency for your benchmarking. Overall, it is improving the quality of teaching, learning, research, infrastructure, students' progression, so that students can ultimately benefit the society through this benchmarking. Ultimate goal has to be improving your education outcomes or your clinical services which you are providing to them. So we need to be very careful by choosing this. Accreditation, I'm sure all of you are aware. I'm sure students are not very interested these days, but for faculty is very important. We all know that NAC had 7 criteria. Now we are going for binary. So they're going to be accredited, non-accredited, or waiting accredited. The NBA, which accreditates the business and the engineering and pharmacy models, they have 10 criteria. NIRF, another very important these days, institutional ranking framework, has about 5 parameters. So this all are under revamp now. The Government of India, the Ministry of Education have realized these parameters actually are made to benefit few and not to take it away. Like for example, University Delhi, with all due respect, has been existing for more than 100 years, getting 1,000 crores of funding, had been evaluated with the same parameters of a university or an institution which is for 10 years, 20 years. So there has to be some sort of a difference between them when we start evaluating. And it's a kind of recognition that program or institution fulfills certain standards. It's nothing beyond it. Having some sort of a ranking, standing, award or accreditation, it only means it has some sort of certain standard prescribed by that agency. But if I go deep, it only defines currently evolving and changing accreditation based on evaluation done at the specific point of time. The academicians who are involved in such accreditation process may agree with me that it only tells you the situation at that particular time. So don't get, illusion with this kind of a fancy word that we are recognized and all. That doesn't really mean at that particular time you have that. But what is the outcome at the end of 4.5 years or at the 2 years? That's what really matters. How many of your alumni have come back to your institution to thank you for kind of education you have given, that kind of a training? That is really a benchmark or a stamp of accreditation for your kind of a work what you are doing it. Now let me take up something from the student point of view. As majority of your student, what they have been demanding or what they have been expecting, the practical knowledge. It's not specific to any particular area, but I think generally every field, even engineers, even the architects, the lawyers, they have also expressed that the insufficient hands-on exposure, recurring concerns, students seek increased access to simulations and clinical internships, especially during the disruption such as pandemic. It has given us that fact. It's a hard fact. It's not only restricted to healthcare or physiotherapy. I think many of other professions have the similar kind of. So if you're talking about benchmark, that has to be considered somewhere. There has to be a hands-on module. I'm sure we are doing it. But who are leading those hands-on experience? I want you to go back to the example of fish. Are we dependent on really experts who are working in the field coming back and telling you? Or is the same kind of a people who take theory and teach you practical as well? So we really need to think about it. It's not to criticize anybody, but now it's time to go a next step to look at our pedagogy. So we really need to look about curriculum relevance. Thanks to national curriculum, we have a new curriculum. That's a debate for some other day. Is it relevant in current scenario? Though it is called as competency based, I haven't found the competency statements, the competency mapping, competency table, but that's my personal view. But thanks, the efforts have been made, we have been heard, there is a curriculum, people are talking about it. But let's look at that, how relevant it is, or it is the same which was produced earlier. So we really need to go back. But the good part is it's been talked about now. So we are talking. So that relevance has to be there. The last, not the least, the feedback and mentorship. Students are constantly looking for some sort of a feedback and mentorship in a positive way. When I was a student, my teacher, Professor M.G. Mukashi, we used to call him father of physiotherapy, he used to tell me there are no wrong ways in our institution. Everything you do as per institution framework is always right. It's a matter where it takes you. You have to decide upon that. So I think we all as a teacher, faculty members, clinician need to think about these two words, feedback and mentorship. It's our duty. Rather than just running behind, preparing documentation, we are doing a mentorship, we are doing a mentor-mentee system, but how much impact it has created to our student or a mentee, we really need to sit back and evaluate that. So these four words I think have a very important aspect, whether you are a student or a faculty or a clinician. We need to be very careful if we are concerned about quality or benchmarking. A small table which is depicted, there are four basic pillars of quality. The purposeful, it should be transformative, it should be exceptional and accountable to a various stakeholder. Whoever has a deeper interest and given a reference to look at that, that gives us a very clear picture when we define quality or when we frame any standards, what are pillars we need to be careful and talked about. From a student perspective, I think what they need right now is a skilled faculty. Once I have done my master's or a PhD and done, I feel I'm most qualified. I don't need any accreditation, which is actually the worrisome thing. I think Western world wants each and everybody who is into active profession, whether academia, research or clinical or any kind of a consulting, they need to update, keep updating themselves. I'm sure you must have seen that ad where the cameraman is on a helicopter and trying to shoot somebody. Within 5 years, both of them lost the job because of the drone. You neither need a helicopter nor the cameraman. I'm from the generation, and many of the people who are sitting on the first row, wow Nokia to what Nokia? I don't know how many of you have heard about that. We are from that generation when we said wow Nokia, and now what Nokia? So we need to be very well aware about that. The only thing which is required for today's students is ability or skill to adopt to new skills. Pre-COVID and post-COVID is equal to AD and BC. What was very much relevant now, I don't know how many of us will be carrying cash. Video conferencing, Zoom has become a normal affair, which was a luxury thing before COVID. So we need to be upskilling ourselves. So it doesn't only stop at students, it also reflects on our faculty and clinicians to be keeping up with modern infrastructure. I'm sure all of you, we have done dissection at medical colleges in Belgaum. We were allowed. It went to prosection. Now it is only observation. There are alternate to it. There are legal binding because of dissection, but there are alternatives. Simulations lab, it has come up so well. It gives you a right feeling. I have seen from my own eyes medical colleges teaching surgeon how to be precise by using technology called simulation. Transparent assessment system, which is a very important thing, which where the feedback and the mentorship comes into. We need to ensure that we have a very transparent, clear assessment system. Not that, no, it's you come at 3 hours, vomit whatever you've done last semester or a year. We need to go slightly away from that. We need to talk about that. Stakeholder engagement, very, very, very important. Once the student's out of our institution or a college or university, we should not only remember him on our alumni day, we should constantly look at the feedback, how they see themselves being placed in the industry. That's the only feedback which can help us to improve, or rather I should say further improve our processes. Career preparation, of course, internship, externship, many of us are doing it. All of us are doing it. It's a mandatory part. But how effectively, I leave it to your thought. So these are basic minimum, which I'm sure all of us are doing it, all of us are aware, but I want you to go from must to slightly more. So the first parameter which I would like to, let's redefine the quality at your own level and at regular intervals. Whether you are a student of first, second, third, fourth year, whatever you are doing or whatever you are expected to do, let's define the quality benchmarks. It may not be same as to your peer. As a faculty, please let's redefine and try to look at it every interval. What impact your students has made his own family, community, regional and the national level. At least once a year, let's take a break and think about what impact your teaching has made in students' life at all these levels. If we start doing it once a year, I'm sure there will be a lot of things to take it back and look at what we do and to prepare for the next year. How many of your existing students recommend their friends to join our own institutions or whatever activity we do? That's again a very important aspect of whenever we are trying to evaluate quality within our own structure. Last, let's create a happiness level for all of us. Ultimately, COVID has taught us nothing is going to stay. Overnight, things get changed drastically. So it's a time that all of us starts looking at the happiness level as well while maintaining all the standards. So thank you so much, and I hope I could add something to your knowledge. More than happy to answer any question or share any observation if you might have. You can reach out to me, to my email ID in case later you want to talk about it. And famous quote, never mind what others do better than yourself, beat your own record from day to day, and you are a success. I can say that very confidently from my own experience. If we just mind our own business and try to change that stepwise every year, it will make a huge impact in everybody's life. And mind your business actually reminds me of another funny story. If I may take another half a minute, sir. I'm not running out of time. I was recently flying and there was a young kid of about 12 years, a little heavier than me, sitting next to me on a flight with about 7 to 8 packets of chips in his bag, one in his hand. And he started eating it the moment we started boarding the flight. I could so observe, neglected him. He was just a normal passenger. But my eyes got clicked when I saw he coming and sitting next to me. By the time he came and sat next to me, his one packet which he opened while boarding the flight was already over. The air hostess started her job and made those announcements, and we took off. The moment we took off, he opened another packet of chips, started eating it. By the time food trolley came towards me, he was done with his second packet. It was an Indigo flight, so there was no free meals. We had to buy it. I ordered something for me and at it, and I see this kid opening the third packet. I couldn't resist myself. I looked at him and said, "Beta, आप क्या कर रहे हो? इतने सारे chips and I see 2 और packet आपके उसमें पड़े हुए हैं. It is not good for your health. You should not eat so much of junk food." He stared at me, looked back, finished his remaining chips in the packet and asked me, "Uncle, how old are you?" I said, "I'm just 45. Okay. But why did you ask me that? You know, my grandfather lived for 98 years. I said, "Good. Does that mean he used to eat 5 or 6 packets of chips every day?" He said, "No. He used to mind his own business." So I think we all need to start talking about it, but identify our own business and take everything what we do in our life as a business. No matter we are a faculty, we are a student, or we are a clinician, or whatever we do in our life. be it as a family member or whatever, if we start taking that, minding our own business without worrying about what others are doing, I'm sure there is success which is in front of us and nothing else. So thank you so very much. Looking forward to answer any question or observation if you might have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enriching and thought-provoking address. And now I would like to call Dr. Tapti to thank our speaker and summarize the session.
Dr. Nitesh delivered a thought-provoking talk. He underscored the importance of high standards. He focused on the need for continuous improvement, accountability, and collaboration among professionals. Quality is not just a one-time process. It is a continuous process which requires dedication and commitment. Thank you, Dr. Nitesh, for your valuable insights. That is going to surely help us in improving quality. Thank you, sir, for taking out time to visit our institution, BCIP. We are grateful. Thank you.
I now request Director Sir to kindly join Dr. Tapti in felicitating Dr. Bansal. Now we would like to take this opportunity to warmly welcome and hand over to the next set of anchors who will guide us through the upcoming insightful sessions. Over to you, Aditya and Isha.
To carry the soul of the event, we now have Dr. Gerd Muller, founder and chairman of Effective Health, which is India's first of its kind chain of advanced physiotherapy and rehabilitation clinics.
He is a specialized practitioner in orthopedic neurology rehabilitation and an expert in medical training therapy and sports medicine.
Dr. Muller's goal is to apply the best of European standard, expertise and experience to the field of Indian orthopedic rehabilitation within his 6 own orthopedic rehabilitation center in Germany.
We welcome you, sir. Please take the stage and enlighten us with your insightful address and guidance on spine assessment.
Try hard to work really in a collaborative mode